and your #1 source for after-show entertainment. AfterBuzz TV, the destination for TV superfans, producing after-shows for over 300 of your favorite TV shows, interviewing celebrities and showrunners, and bringing you behind-the-scenes exclusives. All thanks to E! Entertainment's Maria Menounos, producer Kevin Undergaro, and internet leader Kaufmann. Now, let the buzz begin!
What?
Millions of dollars indeed. Millions of dollars. $250,000 is going to 2 of the final 6 people here on top. Did you like that?
Yeah.
Like I said, right? That was pretty good. That's going to go to 2 of the final 6. Again, another week of someone going home that we didn't think should. But we're going to talk about all that right now, live on AfterBuzz TV, which you're watching live on AfterBuzzTV.com, the YouTube page of AfterBuzz TV, and of course, listening to iTunes, SoundCloud, giving those 5 stars, subscribing, telling friends, telling enemies.
5 stars.
Thumbs up.
And the thumbs up, like, comment, all that stuff. Welcome, everybody. I am Christian Rosenberg. Follow me on Twitter at Real Rosenberg, Instagram at The Real Rosenberg. Full panel here once again tonight. To my left, at Christy Reports, the lovely Miss Christy Olson.
Hello.
Over on my farther left, at G Hermoza in the pink shirt, Encyclopedia of Sports Entertainment, George Hermoza.
I got my 200 followers now. The road to 300 followers begins. Hashtag road to 300 followers.
And to my farthest left.
Furthest left?
Farthest left.
Leftist.
Leftist.
to the mostest left. At Steve Kaufmann to Steve Kaufmann.
Yeah, good to see everyone. I'm happy we're going with my strategy of just voting for the people that you want to leave the show. It's just your
Is
vote.
that what they're doing?
I think that's what everyone's doing.
Yeah.
It's just we're voting.
That's how it works, right?
It's vote for the worst.
It's like golf, right? Like, who was the... Hank is winning, right? Was that his name?
Hank won Tough Enough in the first episode, and then they're all playing.
Well, we're gonna get into obviously everything with Tough Enough. I know everyone's got some stuff to say about it, but even though it had nothing to do with this reality show, this show is about finding a new sports entertainer, and there was arguably nobody more entertaining in the history of WWE than Roddy Piper, who passed away a few days ago. And all the wrestling companies, all the wrestling shows, they're all doing their types of tributes. And I thought it'd be nice for us just spend a couple minutes. We're not going to do too long because I know you guys are here to listen about Tough Enough. But, just chat about Roddy Piper and what he meant to us as fans. And, really what he brought to wrestling and how he really changed it and pioneered it in so many aspects.
He personified that. Like, if you were to ask someone like Jim Carrey, who did he look to when he was a child? Piper would be on that list. Like, that's how much Piper transcends. Like, just as a performer, he just happened to be a pro wrestler. And I think I said this earlier that I think part of the reason this death hit us all really hard is that it all kind of made us realize that it's Dusty, then him, and then it's like you look at a lot of wrestlers his age, and like you hope for the best, but you're like, I think that's a bad trend that's happening now. I kind of brought the room down with
you
that
did.
Well, let's celebrate Piper's life.
Sorry.
Thank you, George.
One of my favorite things about him was that if there's one word to describe him best, I think it's fearless. Hopefully this story doesn't last too long, and of course this is back in the days when things weren't PC. So obviously Piper was a huge name here in Los Angeles, out in the Grand Olympic Auditorium, out in downtown LA, and believe it was there. So obviously a very heavily Mexican community, Latin community. He came out and I think said something very offensive to the Latin community. So they made him go out and apologize. So he comes out, he's like, I just want to apologize, and just show my apology, to show my sincerest. I want to sing the Mexican national anthem. So, La Cucaracha, like that's Piper, like that's again, obviously he can't do that now because for obvious reasons. But that just shows how fearless he was, and all those stories that he has about people threw this at me, people wanted to do this to me. I believe it, because if you watch him back in the 70s and 80s, he was that. He there would be no, I don't care what's going on with him, but Hulk Hogan, he wouldn't be as big as he was if it wasn't for Piper. Piper made him an even bigger fan favorite at the time.
But then why wasn't he in that video Monday?
Stop.
I'm sorry.
Oh.
That's how good he was, though.
We can play the Who's Hulk Hogan
he
game,
was that big of a heel that he made everyone better as a fan favorite, but he also a great fan favorite as well. That's what made him so great.
Right, and just something that I want to bring up, obviously unmatched in the wrestling world in a lot of ways, but I think of the episode where we saw he and his family on Celebrity Wife Swap.
Yeah.
And got to see how close he is with his children, and he and his wife Kitty have been together for such a long time. They were matched up with Ric Flair and his current wife, and you got to hear about how Roddy and his wife Kitty were part of Ric Flair and his first wife's wedding, and just, you got to remember that with you saying that we're losing a lot of these guys right now, they go back so far. They're like a family themselves, and that was just sort of what I wanted to bring up about him, is that I really enjoyed seeing him as a father.
Yeah, and his son Colt is actually, kind of working the independent circuit as we speak. A few weeks ago, he was actually out here in LA for the special championship wrestling from Hollywood Red Carpet Rumble, where the Hobo participated in. John LaQuasta was doing commentary.
A close friend of ours, Chris Kloss, actually did commentary with Roddy Piper.
That's right.
If you go to Chris Kloss's Facebook page, it's a very, very touching statement from Chris Kloss. A bunch of cool pictures from that day of him doing commentary with them, too.
Yeah. And about a little over a year ago, we had actually Roddy Piper here when I was doing the Legends House AfterBuzz with Hobo and Mark. Roddy Piper came into the studio. He was sitting as close to me as Christy awkwardly is right now. And I think he was just as uncomfortable with it as Christy is right now. But it's just like, we had a 90-minute interview. And we were just picking his brain about Legends House. He was telling us stories, giving us advice as far as wrestlers trying to get over, how to get over in promos, all these things. And one of the funniest things was he has a soda. If you don't know, if you go to Rocket Fizz stores, which are all around the country, he has I Can't Believe, or Owl Out of bubblegum flavored soda. And it just came out like a few days before our interview. And he was just like, I brought you guys something. And he's like, as you guys know, I now have a soda. And we're all excited. He's like, oh, you brought a soda to try. He pulls out 3 empty bottles of his soda. He's like, because it's just so damn good, I drank it on the way here. Just like, you bastard. Couldn't you let us try it? So the following week we actually bought some. It's actually surprisingly good. I was not expecting bubblegum flavored soda to be good, but it was actually pretty good. Buy some. And I just saw it about 2 weeks ago. What is the last recorded Piper's Pit? It was over at Maryland Championship Wrestling. And I was watching it this morning. And he made a line. It's like, you know why the Ultimate Warrior always runs so fast to the ring? It's because I was chasing him. It's just like that type of humor, but also, well, kind of what you were saying, Christy, how he's just such a family person. How kind he is to the fans, constantly signing autographs, going from place to place to place. I can't believe how many of my Facebook friends and Twitter friends have a photo with Roddy Piper. It just shows how genuinely kind a man was.
If you watch that Piper's Pit video from MCW, right before the Piper's Pit, you had a couple of the guys from MCW show a cause that Roddy Piper's involved with that I never knew of, that I didn't know of until I saw the Piper's Pit. A lot of people get bullied, obviously, and a lot of people unfortunately take their own lives, and Piper was a very strong advocate of making sure that doesn't happen. And I didn't even know this until 2 days ago when I saw the video, and I was just, for him to be involved like that, I think is so touching, and hopefully that legacy lives on with other people as well.
Yeah, and feel free, obviously, tweet us or leave comments on the YouTube page your favorite Piper stories or moments. We love to hear them, because we could talk about Piper all night long, but we need to talk tough enough. That wasn't as good a segue as the beginning one was.
Nah,
they're not all winners. So, Tough Enough begins with the thrilling recap of last week. When a surprise elimination happened. I feel like they just looped the same thing from the previous week.
In a world where The Miz is now a judge, and we're not gonna tell you why.
I thought he was going to be out because
They
after
said-
last week,
they said he was
this week's judge.
permanent,
They said a
right.
special guest judge for this week. Like I guess they didn't know. It hadn't been confirmed he'd be back till the Stone Cold podcast last night, where Paige mentioned he'd be back.
Yeah, and I was surprised.
Me too.
And yeah, and he's back. They're just showing in the barracks, and pretty much the first chat is about, okay, Amanda got saved because she's hot. And Amanda's pretty much just like,
Yeah, hi.
Well, actually, before that, they did something interesting in the live segment where all the judges called out everyone individually and said, "This is what I'm looking for from you." And I remember, like, wow, I really enjoyed it.
Are you telling me that they changed the format again?
Yes,
Like
but
they do every freaking week?
but I liked this one. They should
Which means next week they won't do it.
exactly. I mean, no, I hate it. It's terrible. And
Never again, please.
anyone who listens to me to ignore me should never use it ever again.
But Miz specifically said, "Hey Amanda, I saved you. Now don't let it go to your head."
Yeah.
Which were kind of like, at first I was like, "Oh, thank God you said that," but then looking back, it's like, "Oh, okay, now I know why he said that."
And she was arguing, starting to argue with Chelsea. We're going to get more into that a little later. And can I just say for the record, did I think Chelsea is hotter than Amanda?
Ooh,
I might be
like
alone
that
on
you
this.
think
Okay.
that.
I am, fair enough. But like to me, in my personal taste with women, of the 4 remaining girls, to me Amanda's 4th. I honestly find,
Wow.
and she's smoking hot. Don't get me wrong, but I find Chelsea, Sarah, and Gigi all more attractive than her.
I love that that's your opinion. I love that because to me that
Thank
says
you.
that you are considering more, or even when you just look at someone, it's still against your sensibilities to like think that someone who's ugly on the inside is hot.
You hear that, ladies?
Right?
You hear that?
Yeah.
That's right.
No, they're all
These
equally.
are deep men.
They're
people.
all equally as attractive, and I will not. I will not objectify them by a ranking.
Wow. I didn't just put them in ranking order. I just said to me, wow, way to go, Steve. Way to put me under the bus. Are we competing right now?
Maybe.
The Tough Enough AfterBuzz host right now? Is that what's happening?
That's what's happening a little bit
Okay.
right now.
Well, there's been a lot of talk between the ladies about you have fake this and you have fake that. And so I'm wondering, do you think that's a part of it too, is that Amanda does not look like a natural beauty, whereas the rest of the ladies have a little bit more of a natural look,
I agree.
That might be it.
right?
Yeah.
I just think it was weird when Amanda was telling Chelsea, like, "Oh, you may be physically better than me in the ring, but I'm better looking than you." It's like, well, probably when you're gonna buy stuff that is gonna enhance your features.
No, I didn't like how Amanda handled herself this week at all. In that way, that's kind of out of nowhere. Like weeks 1 through 4, like you've never heard that kind of talk from Amanda.
And side note, there's like 8 straight things in the chat roll agreeing with me that Chelsea's hotter than Amanda. So thank you, chat roll.
But going back to
wasn't.
what you just said, Steve, a lot of that was probably because she was kind of an afterthought in the first few weeks.
That
Chelsea wasn't even there in the first few weeks.
No, I'm saying Amanda and her attitude.
Amanda's attitude stepped up as judges kept calling her out for being an afterthought. Or at one point, she was considered Daria's sidekick. That she's developing this attitude.
Now she's Georgia's sidekick.
Because it's the pushing of this hot thing. We didn't hear her say things like, "Oh, you love to hate me because I'm hot." Like that whole "love to hate me because I'm hot" thing is like so illegitimate. Because people love pretty people. They like to look at pretty people. It's all about being hot in America.
That's
right?
why everyone's watching this, to
Right.
look at Steve.
Exactly. We don't hate hot people. We love them. So if
I don't
you
see
think
why that was
someone's
funny.
loving to hate you, that's your attitude, and that's what you're putting out there. And they will love to hate you because you're putting out a hateful attitude,
Agreed.
right?
Amanda.
And, well, I just want to make one more
Please.
tiny point. And that is that
A little tiny
out
one?
of all the things that a young lady can be proud of and feel accomplished over, Chelsea should be very proud that she's worked hard and learned how to she's on the road to being a great wrestler, in my opinion. Gigi has worked hard in being a fitness model and just a nice person, sidebar. And being hot is something, of course, that you work at a little bit, but it's sort of a God-given blessing, and maybe not something that you should go around taking for granted and throwing in everyone's face, because I just think that you're asking karma to, like, slap you in your pretty face.
I don't flaunt
you know what
it.
I mean?
And
I don't flaunt it.
And it's a vote.
You are very humble about your
It's a
hotness,
vote
Christian.
show. Like, I think that's what Amanda... Because I think producers are feeding her those lines, and she's just going along with it.
Could be.
Where it's like, but it's a show based on votes. How does she expect to get people's votes if she flaunts that negative an attitude?
Because she doesn't need votes. Miz saved her last week. He saved her again this week.
Oh my God.
In a roundabout
We'll
way.
get there,
We
but-
will get there, but so she doesn't have to have votes.
Yeah. And in the midst of all this, we're actually kind of treating this discussion exactly how ZZ felt he was being treated in the barracks. Because they're going back and forth, and ZZ's just like, are you guys not going to bring up the fact that all you wanted me to go home? Like, should I just leave? Like, what do you want?
I love how he brought that up. Because I could see myself in his situation not bringing it up.
Yeah.
Why? I don't see why you would bring it up.
Where it's like, what's to talk about? They made it
Exactly.
pretty clear on stage the past 3 weeks where they said I should be eliminated. And
He's offended.
You
and
should have
he's a
asked them,
sweet
well,
guy.
if they're going to ask us who should be limited, what do you think we're going to say? I wanted someone else to say that, because there has to be somebody from process of elimination.
And they want to get rid of the person who they feel the most should not be there, or the weakest one, or whatever it may be. And in 90% of the cases, it's ZZ right now.
Yeah.
But it is sweet how sad he gets. I do always feel bad for him.
He needs a grow
I
set.
know, that's-
He needs a
that's-
grow
No,
set.
and they talked
I
about
know.
they talked about this on Tough Enough. This is his This is ZZ's third reality show. He was on Wife Swap and then Swamp People.
I didn't even know he was on Wife Swap. I knew he was
No,
on
they,
Swamp People.
they brought it up. He was literally like,
It was like trading spouses.
yeah. It might not have been Wife Swap. It was Trading Spouses. They had a
Okay.
still of it, and they talked about how it's his
2004.
third reality show. And for better or worse, we have a perfect feel of who ZZ is. Whereas we can't say that about every contestant that's come through Tough Enough. And it's because he's a good reality star. And maybe deep down inside he wants to be a WWE superstar, and if he wins, which he might win, he'll hopefully be trainable enough to do that. But if you're going to ask anyone, honestly, including this panel, who should go home, who should have went home 4 weeks ago, it was ZZ.
Yep.
Love him to death. He's a good guy.
Entertaining.
Yeah.
Not in a pro wrestling standpoint.
He could be, like, he seems very trainable. And
Does he? From what we've seen on the show, I don't think so.
I mean, he seems coachable. His cardio. There has to be some form of cardio in order to be a professional wrestler.
Well,
least I would think so.
Coachable, but it's questionable if he would be able to put in the work.
I think
Like the coaching
I think he
value.
doesn't realize just exactly what becoming a professional wrestler is, or WWE superstar in this case, because I think he wants it, but for the wrong reasons, which isn't a bad thing. But again, he'd be a great, like, a sidebar in the world of professional wrestling. And Daniel Bryan said it best. He was just somebody who you want to look for the best person for the job, because they're getting a job with the WWE. And you don't want to get somebody just because they're a good reality star. And I'll probably get into that later, because
course.
Miz pissed me off so much today.
Well,
And I like the Miz.
well, guys, let's get into the word for this week. And the
Teamwork.
word this week. Thank you for just completely.
Spoiler alert, the word was.
Damn it, George! You ruined all my fun. So teamwork is the theme this week. God damn it, Steve. I hate both of you. Chrissy, it's
Teamwork.
just gonna be you and me this week. Just you and me.
All right.
So we start off with activity in the ring with them partnering up with each other. As far as, okay, you guys are gonna pretty much, you plan your own sequence with everything that we've trained you. Good, I'm all for this. So now, like, start putting things together. Start building the puzzle from what you have been taught so far. So we start with ZZ and Tanner, and ZZ has no idea what he's doing. Kind of going back to what we were just talking about a minute ago. And Billy Gunn is mad.
Ooh, is he mad?
Like, I saw some little videos that the Tough Enough Twitter page was posting
Oh,
over this
yeah.
week with this. Billy Gunn was ripping him to shreds.
And they released this. The timing of this seemed there was a lot of scuttlebutt. That this was them releasing the video last week was WWE trying to get the sentiment towards people wanting to vote ZZ out. Mm-hmm. That like, well, let's just put that on YouTube like right now.
Yeah.
Like
I thought the same thing until they put 3 girls in the bottom 3.
Yep. Me too.
So I thought the timing of everything was weird.
Well, you had 4 girls and 3 guys.
Exactly.
So they had to even it out.
Oh, no.
Because it's reality and it's completely random.
Okay.
All right. so ZZ did terrible. Then you had Sarah and Gigi. Now, both of them were making mistakes. I thought, personally, from watching it, George's mistake on the shoulder tackle, to me, looked worse than Sarah's mistake on the body slam. I can understand the concern because of how Gigi was dropped. But kind of like what Dan O'Brien said later on in the show, she didn't just take a nosedive. She fell on her side, not directly on her head. The shoulder tackle, her footing was completely off, and it looked really, really lazy. To me, I felt Sarah, I mean, again, this is from what we see on the show. To me, I thought Sarah did better between the two of them from what we saw. But both did not do well.
And I think neither of them were, at least for this instance, working together in any sense.
Right.
Because the first thing you get a talking head with Sarah where she said, yeah, Gigi was just messing stuff up, and I had to pick up her slack, and then I had to do this, and then I do that, and then like Gigi would say the same thing about Sarah, and it was, well, but that's probably part of your problem.
Yeah.
If that's how you think about each other, you won't be able to work together, and if you win this contract, you'll have to be able to work with everybody.
And then we get Amanda and Chelsea. And I'm actually glad this was brought up tonight because we had a big discussion about this last week.
Yes.
Chelsea was selling. For those of you that are only reality show fans and might not know what that means in sports entertainment terms, selling means if someone punches you, someone slams you, someone kicks you, ow, it hurts, and you act like you're in pain. Chelsea is trained. She's trained by one of the best in Lance Storm. She knows how to do that. We went off last week because all the girls took splashes from Tamina Snuka and no one sold except for Chelsea. But now they were really emphasizing, hey, we haven't taught you that yet. Don't do it. Which sounds stupid,
Yes.
but I can understand it.
See, with Chelsea, I think it's because she's been trained. At some point, it becomes instinct to you.
I agree.
Yeah.
No, I 100% agree with you on that. However,
So I can't fault her for that.
no, and I'm not
Yeah.
trying to falter.
Oh, yeah, of
but I
course.
understand how the coach is like, look, you have to do this kind of, you're much farther ahead. They know you're much farther ahead than all these other people. You have to do this like everyone else. That's just how they want it for the show. Obviously, she's going to be ready to go into NXT much quicker than anyone else. But it's just like, hey, we haven't had that discussion yet on the selling. We haven't told people. Now, it really doesn't take rocket science to be like, ow, my back.
Right.
Doesn't that usually happen by now? If you were to be going through the ropes like they are, like that's something they teach you fairly early, correct? Or am I dead wrong?
Want to get someone in the habit of not doing it?
Yeah, like-
and how do you ask someone to regress when they've already learned this and they're already doing it and they're supposed to be doing it? Why? That is what the coaches were asking her to do, to stop doing that. But why would they do that?
I remember years ago when I was doing some actual wrestling training and failing miserably at it. Thank you, Marissa, our engineer, for laughing at that. We were practicing like this combo, which ended with you taking a Russian leg sweep. I know it sounds fancy, right?
Yeah.
So it was my turn to do it. This is my first time attempting it, and I go through everything. The trainer gives me the Russian leg sweep, and I fall, and he completely took. I didn't feel a thing. And in other words, I'm like, oh, I did this great because they took it, and then I took it. I fell to the mat, and then I hopped back up to get back in line, and the trainer stopped. He's like, "Why the hell are you not selling?" I'm like, because I just popped back up because I was so happy that I did it right. I'm like, ow. But yeah, obviously everyone's going to train differently. Some are going to probably say right off the bat, cells less than 1. In the case of the show, cell might be less than 10. So, I'm not, and it's hard for me to say this, I'm not mad at Amanda for being surprised by the selling. I'm mad at her later in the show. But for this, I was
for overreacting to something that's...
Yes. But I don't falter when it was physically happening.
I agree.
George agrees with me.
Okay. I just wish...
Christy doesn't, apparently.
No, apparently not.
I just wish that the coaches would not have asked her to stop selling, because I think that was stupid.
I'm with you on that, but I
Yeah.
think that's a good habit that she already has. That they're that's an extra level she has to do when she's in the ring of, I have to not sell. And it's only temporary, because 3 weeks from now she's gonna have to sell again.
Yeah.
Well, no, actually, no. But
What?
Spoiler alert.
tomorrow she's gonna have to sell again, just not on Tough Enough.
Right.
Oh, you're going to be talking to her, huh?
All right,
That should be fun.
Hashtag ABTV, ask Chelsea. And then finally, Josh and Tanner went, and I was ready for a full match with these two. They flowed so well. It's not every day you see the finish of a match being a hip toss, but from obviously what they've learned so far, they did great. I mean, okay, both of them are entertaining. We know how both of them are just natural gifted athletes, but they kind of sold the story. They told a little story with those few moves they knew without selling.
Although ZZ was on the ring. ZZ was ringside selling for that match, though.
Yeah, ZZ was still in pain.
Well, did anybody else see the ZZ face? Very briefly, while that
ZZ face.
While that Josh and Tanner thing was happening, I took a screenshot and tweeted it because I liked it so much. He just had this look on his face, like he was just so hurt, like a friend stabbed him in the back. That was the look on ZZ's face. At Steve Kaufmann, KAUFMAN, and I tweeted it.
I've become a huge fan of Josh for reasons that are not related to Tough Enough that I'll talk about later.
A Barracks bromance?
We'll talk about that later.
We're going to get to that.
Are we there yet?
In just a minute.
Well, the Twitterverse was blowing up saying that maybe Tanner and Josh should be a tag team.
I could buy that.
No,
Right?
I mean, but those are some of the most successful tag teams where you have this fast and technical one and then the powerhouse for the other one.
Yeah.
I got no problem with it. Team Tough? Nah.
Tosh?
Toughish.
Team Janner.
Or Tosh.
Tosh would be...
Nah.
Tosh 3.0.
Nah.
Tosh
There's
enough.
probably some type of...
Hey, there
Tosh
we go. I
They're,
like
they're
it.
Tosh enough. I like that one, too. I will be... You have my address. Send me my check at your earliest convenience, WWE.
They have your personal address?
It's a long
Yeah, are you
story.
sure Are you sure it's saved on file? Are you really sure it's saved on file?
I am.
Okay. Okay. What, are you on the blacklist or something?
I'm on the gray list.
Oh, he's on the charcoal gray list.
The dark.
I'm in between.
All right. So now we go to the School of Hitting on Women, hosted by Josh. First student of the night is Tanner. And Josh's way of teaching, hey, imagine that I'm a girl. Granted, I'm 6'8" and 275 pounds. But imagine I'm a hot 6'8", 275-pound woman. I then got uncomfortable watching the show.
Well, that's Christy who...
That got weird.
Yeah, Christy should break this one down.
Weird. You know what? Tanner is just so freaking awkward. And I don't know where this all came from. He was so cocky and kind of cool those first few weeks, and that has disappeared. I don't know where it went, but he's just so weird. And yeah, maybe the decision to have Josh act like the girl, couldn't even have been pretend like that couch is a young lady that you would like to talk to. Or, this pool stick maybe. But yeah, the acting out got weird. And
Why don't they bring in another one of the girls?
There you go. There's an idea.
Not Chelsea. There were 3 others. Pick one.
Right. But I don't know when Tanner got so weird, but
When they started interacting with women.
yeah. It's weird. It was weird.
It was really
I mean, apparently he has a better chance of hitting on women if they look like guys. Because he was saying all the right things.
Those were the right things?
I don't know, man.
Were they the right things? Hashtag Baby
It
George?
looked like Josh. It looked like Josh. I know you're just feeding in for the
Actually,
wolves.
that reminds me of a comment I took a screenshot of. Kumal H, Kumailh, 4 days ago said, I can't imagine Christy having a neutral expression, and I can't imagine George not being creepy.
See, that's not funny. Because that guy was totally trolling us at Total Divas. That's
it?
why,
Oh,
yeah.
oh, sorry.
Now you're just feeding to the wolves.
I didn't-
Literally.
He said it wasn't funny, but we all just laughed.
True.
Sorry, I didn't know he was trolling. I would have not put his comment on
Okay.
there.
That's okay.
I guess his troll comment is that I'm very animated.
There it is. So then, after that pep talk, kind of,
Yeah.
we then had an argument between Gigi and Sarah about the incident in the ring where Sarah almost broke her neck, even though you're wearing a freaking helmet.
And you
Now-
fell on your side.
Now I get the not. I guess she should have apologized. She should have.
Yeah.
Yes.
They
And
were,
that,
yeah.
they're 100% behind that. But again, Gigi, these last 3 weeks, I've been getting so annoyed with Gigi because she's overreacting to everything. This huge personality, we know she's a great athlete.
Yeah.
But the huge personality, the huge character, all the charisma that we were seeing these first 3-4 weeks, where did that person go? Because she ain't there anymore.
She took whatever pills Amanda was taking. That they
Wow.
just the sassy reality show pills.
I forgot which Jet said it. It might have been the Miz. Or
Which are
maybe,
available.
Maybe it was Paige. The biggest thing about Gigi now is that they don't know whether she's humble or not. If all these sincere, like the crying from a few weeks ago, or all these like, oh, I almost got paralyzed. Like, wait, are you being legit or are you just being over dramatic because the cameras are there? So that's the biggest problem with Gigi. I still love her. I thought she looked gorgeous in the live on the live part. I really did. But yeah, that's the biggest issue with Gigi now.
Also, it is kind of incredible, just on paper, that for 6 weeks she only didn't win a challenge on week 1. So for 5 weeks in a row she won challenges, and then this week she's in the bottom 3 and she needs to be saved. Like, that's an incredible turnaround for anyone, just on paper.
It's because the challenges don't mean
I
anything.
know.
They're-
I know.
Do you know, Steve? Do you know it?
I do know it.
Okay.
I do.
There's a lot of speculation. People are talking like, so are we starting to see the real Gigi or the real weirdo Tanner or the real, because everyone seems to have sort of switched up from the first few weeks. We have to remember that they've been in this now for a couple months almost. They're away from their families. I know they get weekends off, but they're away from their families. They're in this reality TV setting. Everybody is getting into everyone's head. It has gotten dirty. I mean, they're dealing with a lot at this point. And so maybe, not that we have to cut them some slack, but just keep in mind that this is a high pressure situation and you're not going to see the best of people for sure.
But at times you might think that you might not see the best, but you might see the real people. Because they're not putting up this act, they can, as time goes by, you tend to break down those barriers. So we're kind of, maybe we're seeing the real Amanda, the real Josh, the real Tanner.
Right,
You know?
and I think a lot of people are thinking that, and I just want to remind them, this is a rough situation for people.
And the real you becomes probably a very fluid concept if you're on a reality show for the very first time, which is why everyone's taking to ZZ, because he's so used to this whole process.
And because you're getting the real ZZ.
Yes.
Yeah.
From there, we have our challenge with, what's the word of the day, everyone?
Teamwork. Oh, I thought.
Thank you,
stay
everyone.
together.
Thank you, everyone, apparently.
I was gonna go like it's Pee Wee Herman. Still, that's a Pee Wee's Playhouse
So
joke.
George had to jump in at the beginning and now not participate at all.
I just flat out forgot. I was going to say primetime players, to be honest with you.
Well, the Primetime players arrive, along with some
That's
some
why
firemen.
we played the theme song in the beginning.
There it is.
There
Well,
it
we do
is.
like the song too.
Okay.
That's good jam.
Millions of
It's
dollars.
a good jam. Millions of dollars indeed. I couldn't have sounded whiter when I just said that. Millions of dollars
Tried, but you
indeed.
would not succeed.
So they're doing this like fire escape drill that they put firefighters through. Attach the hose, go in there, put out the fire, save the.
Save the victim.
That's the word.
Yes.
Save the victim. Whichever team does it the fastest wins. Team 1 was ZZ, Tander, Amanda, and Chelsea. Team 2 was Josh, Sarah, and Gigi. Right away, I'm telling you, Team 1 wins because they got more people.
Just numbers.
Yeah. Even though Josh has a strength of 2 people, he's still physically only 1 person.
Simple math, people.
Well, and ZZ, that seems to be a skill ZZ possesses.
Why does ZZ have that skill?
I
He can wrestle gators and
He's a
attach
volunteer-
a fire hose.
he's a volunteer firefighter. Like
Yeah.
that, I would assume if you grow up wrestling gators in a small town, you're also a volunteer firefighter.
You're also like
Duh.
the deputy sheriff.
You're
You're the librarian.
College football player.
College football, every position.
he was born on the 4th of July. ZZ
There's
was,
no reasons not to love this guy.
I-
No wonder he's gonna win this whole thing.
Yeah. So Team 1 wins. They don't win anything. They just win.
Yay.
But it was more so just about the fact that, hey, you're working as a team. Mm-hmm. Cool. Back to the barracks. The guys all bond. Like, they all seem to be getting together like ZZ. This is a competition.
Just 20 minutes ago, he was like, "I'd rather if you wanted me to be eliminated, just think of me as being eliminated and just not talk to me."
And now they're trying to help him in the gym.
Yeah, like
and everything.
I like this that they're just as people.
Yep.
Because there's very little they can do to work with who they're going to pick in the bottom 3 and how we're going to vote once they're there. Mm-hmm. So I think there's a lot of humanity there where it's like, well, then this guy obviously wants help, and we're obviously trained to give him help. Mm-hmm. Let's help him.
Although Josh said it's only for the cameras.
But you know what? The hardest part is just getting your butt to that gym.
Just get there.
Showing up there. You're there. You're winning the battle.
Oh, I know.
Agreed.
That's always my biggest thing. When I'm there, I love it, and I work my tail off. I just have to get there.
Yep.
I think the biggest battle for me in like life is just getting out of bed in the morning. I've succeeded. If you see me somewhere, I'm nailing it.
He's like, I did it today.
I got out of bed and left the house.
You know what, Steve? Let me make tomorrow a little easier for you. Just don't go to bed. Just stay up so that you don't have to get up. It's like Amanda cheating with injectables. It's just how you get through life.
Wow, what a low blow.
I know, but do you see how I brought it back to
You
brought it
really-
together?
Yeah.
It was nice. It was good. I approve.
It's like you've been practicing.
So while the guys bond, Amanda's. I'm still mad at Chelsea because Chelsea, you're just jealous of the fact that you wish you looked like me.
Oh my God.
Anyone want to take this before I yell at
Oh,
Amanda?
don't forget
No,
the
please.
biatch.
Oh,
Oh,
God.
Just
Don't forget that part.
Just go.
Because if you're gonna say something biatchy, you
Because-
better finish it with biatch.
Because Amanda, you were trying to show off because you're doing things that I don't know how to do yet. And Chelsea told it like it is. We work as a team, but at the end of the day, I'm also trying to win. So I'm going to try to make you look good, but I'm going to try to make myself look better.
Yeah. And
I can understand that from a competition standpoint.
also, but selling by its virtue makes her look better.
Yes.
Because if I power slam you and you just get right back up.
Oh, come on.
and
Come
then,
on. Let's be serious. Come on.
And then you power slam me, which yes, we're being unrealistic. Right?
Yeah, that's 100% accurate.
And then you power slam me and I like call an ambulance.
Man, I slammed you good.
Exactly. Like that makes my power slam look terrible.
Right.
And that
That's why Tamina Snuka last week were just like, what? What happened to her splashes?
Yeah.
She beat so many divas with those splashes. Now everyone's just hopping back up.
Let's be real. She hasn't really won that many matches.
that is true.
Well, not in the wild.
He is statistically correct.
And he is the encyclopedia. So they keep fighting, but then we go to the kind of Q&A part, and Miz is pissed at Amanda, and rightfully so. He's like, at the beginning of the show, I said I didn't want the you're hot to get to your head, and clearly it got to your head. You're going to be in the bottom 3 tonight. And the crowd started going, yes!
Everyone was all about it.
All right!
And it was 5:48, and I'm like, oh, they're already doing the bottom 3 now. Great.
Yeah. All right.
Nope, Miz just screwed up again.
Yeah, Miz was just stating his
did it on
intentions earlier.
purpose.
Guys, we'll get there.
He
We'll
did
get
it on
there.
purpose.
We'll get there. We'll get there.
Don't even get me started.
We'll get there. Guys, we'll get there. Is it weird that I'm whispering now? Maybe.
Kind of.
It kind of works.
Thank you.
Whoa!
Do you guys need the room?
Hello.
Sorry, it just
Wow.
comes out sometimes.
George, I need to go grab a
Hey.
Sprite.
Hey, why not? Oh, that's a wedding ring. That's right. So,
I wasn't wearing it last week.
Oh!
I forgot to put it on. I thought you guys were going to mention it. But hey, while I'm asking
Well, I don't
all
know
of your
because
opinion,
let's not go there.
anyway,
I kind of want to go there, but go on.
I want to know
I
what
noticed.
you guys all think of The Miz making such a huge deal out of Amanda being so hot and this and that. Everybody on Twitter, and I kept checking Maurice's Twitter last week to see what she was saying about this.
Oh, that's right.
Right? Like, I mean, I'm thinking if I'm her and I'm sitting at home watching this, I'm kind of going, why are you making such a huge deal out of another hot blonde chick? And also, Maurice has so much on Amanda that it makes me surprised that The Miz would even be enamored with Amanda.
Maurice is like straight up top 5 most gorgeous divas of all time.
Exactly. And she can
Maybe even
wrestle.
number one. Maybe
and
even
she's
number
got a persona. And she's just a great person to be around.
And she was a
she's
pretty good
fun and
wrestler.
Cool and,
Yeah.
yeah.
good.
So I just can't kind of believe that The Miz is so in love with Amanda.
I think
because
Miz was in a
He's
little...
got his own blonde that's way better at home.
I feel like Miz was in a little too deep last week as a judge, where like it didn't seem like he was gonna know. It didn't seem like he was A, gonna know if he was coming back, and B, he was probably thrown into that chair that day.
That's true.
That like, I give him a level of credit of he just needed to go with something controversial and get mentioned a lot for the show.
I feel like he's trying to be a heel on the show.
Yeah.
His character is in
But
the
Paige
show.
is also
Yeah.
trying to do that.
Paige is being herself.
Yes.
This is being
I
his
think we're
character.
seeing a lot more
Right.
of The Miz, and not so much Mike Mizanin playing The Miz.
Also,
Right.
I read something. I read something today actually
Read my
that,
book.
that explained Miz pretty well versus someone like Daniel Bryan. Someone like Daniel Bryan came up through bingo halls.
Lived in his car.
Yeah, lived in his cars, gyms.
Swap meets.
Yeah. Miz was a reality star, just like ZZ.
Yeah.
And really wanted to do this, and then went through the trials of tribulations to do this. But for him, it was Florida Championship Wrestling, and then
He actually went through the training.
yeah, like he went through the training, but he never went through what someone like Daniel Bryan or Paige went through.
No, he did not.
Wait, The Miz?
The Miz, yeah, his training was entirely in house. He was down in Florida. I think he was in Ohio I think he was in Ohio Valley.
He trained at UPW at Rick Bassman School.
He trained at
There you go.
UPW, but he was
But he worked like the indie. Like obviously he wasn't. You can't compare rarely anyone to Daniel Bryan, but
Yeah.
Like I do think but the difference about Miz is very, very, very passionate about the business.
Oh yeah, I'm not saying he
Yeah.
isn't. I'm just saying his idea of the business, it differs wildly from what the rest of the panel would feel, and that's why the Amanda comment hit so hard last week. Because
good point.
because the other two were like, what?
I don't.
Chelsea
Think
can wrestle.
that, I respectfully disagree.
Well, if
Okay.
you're saying that's the realm that The Miz comes from, is reality TV and hot people getting attention.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah, it makes sense.
I want to know why George disagrees.
I just think he knows better. I think this is the actual character The Miz being
That's
the
fair.
character The Miz.
And
And especially if you would have
I'm
watched
thinking
Tough
that.
Talk, then like he really amped it up a little bit more, and I was like, oh my god, you're pissing me off right now.
well, the judges continue to argue, but we eventually get our bottom 3 announced. Our bottom 3 are Gigi for the first time in the bottom 3.
Mm-hmm.
Sarah, who's been in the bottom 3 quite a few times. And Miz is going to put Amanda in the bottom 3 because it said it a minute ago, right? No. He then puts Chelsea in the bottom 3.
He's like, I changed my mind because you are what you are, and I'm the same way, so I'm changing my mind.
And if he could change his mind, then why couldn't Paige change her mind? He had said it, she had said it. There has to be a cutoff, of course.
Yeah.
Where they say, oh, okay, those are the judges' picks. Now we start the voting, or now we move on to whatever else.
to be fair,
why couldn't she change her vote after he said not Amanda?
Because he said he shouldn't have said what is just good TV production. He shouldn't have said who his bottom 3 was.
Right, but he did.
In the segment prior.
He said it on
But he
purpose.
did.
He said it
He
on
said-
purpose because he knew if he didn't, then Paige would have put her in.
Yeah. So again,
Yeah.
he saved her
Yep.
in this very icky way.
And she even said it.
And
I think
Paige
Paige
should
said
have
it.
been allowed. Yeah, she did, and she should have been allowed to change her vote after he
Yeah.
said that.
And real quick though, what do you guys think? First off, was it me or did anybody see like Daniel Bryan was kind of like not? like happy today. He just kind of seemed very
Well, he's
grumpy.
probably annoyed at what's going on in the show.
Exactly, because
Chris Jericho was not even involved today.
And by the way, did someone forget to tell Amanda to put clothes on?
No. She was
Not
just being a
complaining.
Nitro girl from the 90s.
Yes.
Right. Is what I thought at first, but then I
by the way,
realized.
brownie points for mentioning the Nitro Girls.
would have
Yes.
worn-
Now, a couple more brownie points if you mention at least 3 Nitro Girls.
Oh no, I can't do that.
Gonna say at least that's Stacey Keebler.
But I will do my research and
Or Charmel.
next year.
Queen Charmel.
Oh, of course.
Stacey Keebler. Kimberly Page.
Stacey.
No, nothing. Okay. So no, but I like Daniel Bryan's reasoning though, as far as putting Gigi in the bottom 3, because he said it best. He was like, "Listen, if you're worried about being paralyzed or things like, yes, you're being over dramatic, but trust me, then you're in the wrong sport. If that's what you're going to
Absolutely
constantly complain about."
Yep.
Because I get bumped all the time. Hell, my career is almost over. Like, you know.
Everyone wrestles with injuries. I mean, if you're afraid of getting hurt, you do not belong in professional wrestling. I am not a wrestler, and I've been injured multiple times. I'm still involved in pro wrestling. Yeah, you gotta, no pun intended, toughen up. And I don't deserve that laughter, but thank you, Christy. But you really have to do that. So our bottom 3, Gigi, Sarah, and Chelsea.
And real quick too, and as far as reasoning why they're in the bottom 3, they all agreed too that the Sarah not apologizing was unexcusable.
Yes, it did.
Inexcusable, and Sarah has kind of blended in with the scenery.
So they get to plead their case one more time. Sarah now apologizes. The good time now, I guess. Gigi says she represents every girl who's too shy to follow their dreams. Shut up.
But that's the whole diva thing, though, right?
No!
No,
Not like
you're
that.
reading-
Not like that.
You're not reading Nikki Bella's Instagram.
You're right. I'm not. Who goes to Instagram to read things? And finally, Chelsea.
That's a very good point.
Instagram is designed for photos and video. You don't go, hey, I'm going to go to Nikki Bella's Instagram to see what she wrote today.
She posts a lot of inspiring memes, as do the rest of the divas.
Oh, they're really giving Divas a chance, aren't they?
Yeah. Chelsea cuts I wouldn't even call it a promo, but she was so articulate, intelligent with her promo, or not, plea, and the crowd applauded her when it was done.
Yeah, and she said everything. She said everything I have been saying that at this stage you need to say, which is, I'm going to be a pro wrestler in the WWE. Whether you vote for me now to stay on this show, and that's how I become my ultimate goal, great, and here's why.
Yeah.
But if you don't, you'll still see me on TV because I'm not going anywhere. And it was perfect. So naturally, no one.
So the voting began. Then Chris Jericho, on his one job that he does on this show. I hate to say that because I absolutely love Chris Jericho to death, but he does nothing on this show.
He'd probably tell you that in private.
Yeah. Does anyone want to make a save? Miz, you already used your save, so don't try to save Amanda again. Even though he, in a way, did. Daniel Bryan, you want to make a save? Nope. Paige, you want to make a save? Yes, Gigi. No suspense, no nothing. I want to save Gigi. And to me, with that bottom 3, to me, before the voting came out or anything, I'm like, yep, Gigi's gone.
Yep.
In my mind, all right, there she goes.
She's on the midnight train to Georgia.
And
yes.
Finally, one of those works out for you.
I didn't laugh.
I noticed.
You're laughing inside.
I'm holding it in. So Gigi would have been eliminated because she only got 22% of the vote, but she was saved. So then we go to the second lowest or second best, or however you want to. Depends if your cup is half full or half empty. And with 25% of the vote, the one remaining wrestler goes home.
Yeah.
He gets eliminated. I want to act shocked, but at this point I'm not.
No.
George is steaming over there. He's ready.
It's just the Miz.
Go for it.
I mean, first off,
Get there, George.
First off, as a, I think it was best said on Tough Talk that the Miz, he was very adamant on saying, well, Georgia knows how to play the game. Obviously, she's saying all the right things. That's why Paige saved her, et cetera, et cetera. And then so he was basically praising Amanda and Gigi for knowing how to play the reality show game. Yet he was talking down to ZZ and saying, "Oh, well, you're not good enough to be a professional wrestler." It's like, oh, so wait, hold on. So it is about the reality, or is it about the professional wrestling? I mean, I get it. You were brought up this way in the reality show, but get it. Like, you got to be consistent in some ways. You can't just, well, reality. Oh, but the wrestling. Like, what is it, Miz? Like, make sense for once, you know? Again, I think it's just his character, and I didn't like Amanda's comment as she's kind of the first one I feel like in a while to say, I'm one step closer to the $250,000. You know, like the fact that she said that, it was like,
not the contract, the money.
Yeah.
And are we all forgetting the fact that Chelsea was supposed to be out of action for a month and she was back in like 3 days?
Oh, yeah.
I did forget about that, actually.
That doesn't show that you're tough.
Also, I think we're all forgetting the fact that it's not a $250,000 prize. It's a $250,000 contract.
Right.
That they would have to fulfill.
Yeah, it's either
To
like
receive-
it's either like 2 or 3 years.
Yeah,
something
like you
that.
would have to do everything in that contract to fulfill it to receive that amount of money. And part of that fulfillment would probably be like 350 days a year.
now I know
working.
I know you haven't watched Tough Talk yet. I know the
I
other
did.
two have. Is it uncomfortable to watch Paige and Amanda go back and forth?
Yes.
Yeah, it is.
Because we've been seeing it for a few weeks now, and like I think Paige is within her right because she's earned that respect. And I'm not saying Amanda should shut up and just listen to her, but it's just kind of uncomfortable. Like,
It's really uncomfortable.
No, because you're right. It is inappropriate the way that Amanda comes back at her.
Yeah.
It most
Especially-
certainly is. She's in Paige's house. This is Paige's house.
Paige is a 10-year veteran. I feel like we all saw that Stone Cold podcast as well.
Yeah,
There's a lot of
she
content.
started
That
wrestling.
was the drinking game. Every time someone said Paige is a 10-year veteran.
Yeah.
She started wrestling at age 13. Who does that?
British people.
Oh, all right. That answers my question.
And Emma. apparently.
when your mom
Australian
is,
people.
when your mom is pregnant with you, then probably
And taking bumps.
Yeah.
You were literally in the ring, in the womb. Literally.
So she took a bump before she was like negative 3 months.
I think the opinion of Daniel Bryan's I respect the most out of the show, and
Yes.
he brings up so many good points just as far. And again, obviously he's been more animated on other episodes, but yeah, he was just kind of sitting there. The look on his face on Tough Talk, just when they were talking about Chelsea being eliminated, was like, wow, I've never seen Daniel Bryan. You know, like he was legitimately pissed for once. Like he was just not saying anything. He did crack a few smiles, but yeah, he was. I think you said, you're like, yeah, Daniel Bryan is not feeling the show anymore.
No,
Like,
he's checked out. I think Chris Jericho's checked out.
especially with just knowing Daniel Bryan's journey and the way they're just completely crapping on the way that people are disrespecting the ones that are actually wanting to be there.
Yeah.
Not like the reality show darlings like ZZ. Yeah.
Well, Daniel Bryan's just mad that his little side piece went home.
Oh, God.
Can we
And
just
with
bring
that-
that up one more time?
With that, let's go to predictions. We got
now,
3 men,
your
3
AFTERBUZZ
women remaining,
TV.
2 contracts.
Who do you got, boys?
Are we just all just saying at this point ZZ and Sarah?
Yes.
I want it to be.
We finally wised up.
But at this point now, I want it to be Sarah out of the 3 women
yes.
remaining. And I want it to be Josh of the 3 remaining men, but it's going to be ZZ.
It's officially. Have there been 8? There have been 7 eliminations, and officially 4 of them have been what we would argue.
Would have been the finale.
Yeah, like what we could have argued were finalists.
Yeah, because
Meaning the majority of the eliminations.
You could have said the finals would have been Patrick versus Mata and Daria versus Chelsea.
Yeah.
Yep.
And they're all gone.
And then Tanner would have held, like.
Yeah.
So, at this point, and I'm expounding on what I said last week, let ZZ and Sarah win, and let everybody else look better than them on the actual show, and let them get developmental deals.
All right, George?
I'm just going to stick with my gut. I think the next person eliminated is going to be Amanda. I don't care what anyone else says. Amanda's gone next week. So prepare your questions for Ask Amanda next Wednesday. I do think George is going to win, and I think Josh is going to win. But going back to what I said earlier about Josh, and seeing what I have in him, or seeing what I see in him without even watching Tough Enough, I was watching I think it was like I think it was half an hour. Last week they had Click Week on the WWE Network.
Yes.
So obviously there were a lot of good specials, but I was watching the Kevin Nash special.
I thought it was great.
Yeah, no, get me wrong, it was amazing, but so they were showing a lot of, like, especially backstage and, on camera of Big Daddy Cool Diesel or Kevin Nash in, like, the mid-90s, 94, 95, 96. And he had just this, maybe not a great in-ring technician, obviously, but this swag about him, this personality about him, just this presence about him. All those things that I saw in Kevin Nash, I see in Josh. And ever since I saw that special, I'm like, that's Josh right now. That Big Daddy Cool that we saw in the mid-90s when he was, fist pumping and or fist whatever he was doing with the crowd, and that guy, even like early NWO Kevin Nash, I see that kind of personality in Josh. It's just that natural charisma that you can never ever teach. I see not only Josh winning, but I see him becoming into an even better, bigger superstar than what everybody thinks he might be. I know there was rumblings on Vince McMahon being high on Josh. I see it.
I see it too, which is why I don't want him to win Tough Enough. Because historically, the Tough Enough winner does next to nothing. Like, it's the people who are in Tough Enough but then get out.
Silent rage.
It's the people who get out of Tough Enough before winning. So historically, those are the people who get the bigger careers. That's why I'm saying at this point, because we've lost so many good people, he's going to have the better career, and that's going to be his win. But at this path, just let's all sit back and enjoy the Sara Lee ZZ train.
Christy, are you on that train?
I feel that you might be right, that maybe they will be the winners. And I was sort of thinking that maybe, like, when Patrick went first and then Mata, I was thinking maybe that is what they're doing. Like, don't let these people get ruined by reality TV, the ones that we can actually make into superstars, and let the fans continue to watch the people they like on the show. But at this point, they're going to have to kind of switch up everything and the editing and... We're not going to see any more of Gigi being annoying. I am sure about that. Because at this point, she's the only girl who can do any of this, and the only one who makes sense is the female winner. So they are going to portray her again in the positive light that she was more portrayed in towards the beginning.
I think at this point, everybody has been in the bottom three, and they kind of got a feel on who the fans are feeling as well.
Right.
So I think that's why they, in some ways, they felt that they had to put at least everybody in the bottom three at some point.
Right. Yeah.
Well,
so I'm just saying Gigi, and I don't see it as much with Josh. But he's the only other one that makes sense. But I'm kind of surprised that you guys.
I heard he's a good dancer. I've grown to love people that are named Josh. So.
All right. Well, with that, on that note, we're gonna keep the chat going on various forms of social media where you can keep talking to us about it. Steve, how can people reach out to you?
They can see me on the street and use their hands. They can also find me on Twitter at Steve Kaufmann. That is KAUFMANN. Tomorrow night I'll be doing Suits and Mr. Robot, those after shows. If you like those shows, please watch me here.
George.
First off, can't wait to see John Cena next week on Tough Enough.
Oh, yeah.
Yes.
But the road to the 300 followers begins. I got 230.
Hey,
70 more. Yeah, no,
There
I
you
gained
go.
like 50 since
There
last
you go.
week. So,
15%.
Baby steps.
hashtag road to 300 followers at G Hermoza. If you're on iTunes, that's GHERMOZA.
I would brag about my followers, but it pales in comparison to Steve and Christy. Christy.
Oh, I love it. Well, I still
got
like
a
more
story.
followers. It's all good. You guys can hit me up at Christy Reports, and please check out ChristyReports.com as well.
All right, and you follow me on Twitter at Rue Rosenberg, and I got a few things to plug. First off, I have my Pro Wrestling Tee store is officially open, everybody.
Yay!
Please go to ProWrestlingTees.com/Christian Rosenberg. Buy a Christian Rosenberg shirt. You can wear roses like I wear. And
You can Rosenberg above hate.
You can Rosenberg above hate as well. And more shirts designs are going to be coming. And you remember a few months ago, I actually had surgery, so I need help paying my medical bills. So if you can buy something, that'd be awesome. Who
It's
needs
like donating to a good cause.
Well, you can do a GoFundMe where I just get money, or you can buy a shirt and support me. Also, this Saturday, if you have a Roku device, you can watch the Insane Wrestling League presents Insanovision live on Roku. I'm calling the action there. Go to theiwo.com for details. If you're in Victorville, California on Sunday, you can go see me at Alpha Omega Wrestling presents Genesis I'm the evil owner there, so I'm gonna have fun there. And of course, with all your other fun AfterBuzz news, gossip, and shows, go follow them on Twitter at AfterBuzz TV. Thanks so much for tuning in this week, everybody. For Steve Kaufmann, George Hermoza, Christy Olson, I'm Christian Rosenberg. Buy one of my shirts, and I'll see you next week.
From executive producers Maria Menounos, Kevin Undergaro, Phil Svitek, and the entire AfterBuzz TV staff, we would like to thank you for listening to the AfterBuzz TV network. To watch or listen to other after shows and post comments or questions, be sure to visit AfterBuzzTV.com. I'm Sir Richard Wentworth, and this has been a presentation of AfterBuzz TV.
Buzz you later. Bye, shirt.
The views expressed herein are those of the hosts only and do not necessarily reflect the views of AfterBuzz TV or its owners or principals.